Hi there, welcome back to part 2 of preventing canine hip dysplasia. So I'm Laurie Edge-Hughes from the Canine Fitness Center, and the goal for today is to take you through the journey of a lot of what you can be doing at home and different things you can be doing with your puppies with the goal of trying to prevent as much as we can of the hip dysplasia. So, my goal in doing this was to create information that can serve as a protocol for providing advice to both dog breeders and puppy owners. And we're going to stage this, stage 1 and stage 2. So stage 1 is 3 or 4 weeks, about that ballpark, to 3 months. And so it's advice to breeders and to new owners. And then stage 2, 12 weeks and older, okay? And then, of course, I had created this as a talk to give for other therapists and vets in what to look for in their puppy evaluations. But let's go with our stage 1. So they're from when they're walking to when they're 3 months old. So we want to make sure that in their whelping pen that there is good surfaces, so the use of mats or surfaces with a better grip and footing. So some washable mats are good, non-slip rubber material for under a rug, so these sorts of things here that you would put underneath a throw rug, or the stuff that you would put in your cupboards and drawers, that would be a good surface for a puppy to learn to walk on. Okay, so really my point is not just newspaper or smooth plastic surfaces, which I know they're easy to clean, but if our goal is to try and create better hips, and especially if you have a breed that is a little more prone to hip problems, really think about the footing that you've got these dogs on. Now, if you look at this rubber mat, it's ridged. It would still be washable. So maybe something to look into. Okay. When they're moving or exercising, the puppies should go outside for part of the day. So on grass if possible. So remember, this is where the puppies that had the least amount of hip dysplasia were the ones that exercised outside on grassy areas and tended to be born at times of the year that would accommodate for that. So you might want to think about making sure that happens, having an outside puppy run, taking the puppies to explore outside in the yard once or more a day. So here's, I can't even find where it starts. Here is an awesome little video. Some of you may even recognize these puppies. Okay, some of you may own these puppies. But the point of this video is to show you the outdoor surfaces, that there's lots of different variety of surfaces. Oh no, don't eat that. Icky, yucky, yuck. Okay, but you can see learning to walk, that's wonderful.
Experience and practice.
Some of you might recognize your own voice in that video. But you know what? This is great. Novel, new terrain.
You're so cute.
Okay, good. Okay, and some other things and some other ideas for when you're outside and letting the puppy be outside would be walking on pea gravel, introducing them to different surfaces and textures. So maybe some grates, of course, that their feet won't go through, they won't fall through, hills, tall grass, wooded areas, exposure to different things like mud or dirt or shavings or puddles. So stuff that they have to navigate. And so it's not only good for them from the mental stimulation standpoint, but learning how to navigate and move on different surfaces is going to be helping them physically. Also encourage free time that is targeted for coordination training, muscle building, sensory stimuli, and just using the body. So here, we've got same litter of puppies. Uh-oh, come on. There we are. Now, my only critique is the flooring. I would like some better footing on this flooring, but oh my, I'm so impressed. Now, I know that's sensory stimulus there, but I like the fact that the puppies have to walk over that that edge in through there. They've got lots of different things to play with. Okay, so think about their targeted play time. Okay, so targeted for coordination training and muscle building and sensory stimuli, which is what you saw there, and using the body. So things like stepping in and out of a litter box. So they have to get in and out and in and out. Not too high, they fall or anything like that, but they have got to figure out their body. Going through tunnels, walking on cushions or uneven surfaces. Maybe a kiddie pool that's filled with empty water bottles or like a little ball pit. So the Fit Paws, it's a name brand, type of equipment that they would walk on, plank of wood, walking over broom or mop handles, any sort of thing that you can think of that is like, okay, let's try and let the puppies navigate this. And as long as it's safe, not too slippery, that would be good. Okay, so we already said we want to block the stairs for that up to 3 months, okay? But that doesn't mean you couldn't start training them on mini stairs or mini risers. We don't want the puppies jumping off the deck like this. But, you know, if you were wondering what to do with one of those low aerobic steps from the 80s and you still have it in your basement somewhere, this is a great time to pull it out and train puppies to go up and down and up and down. Okay, and if that's too high, find something even littler. Maybe it's an old textbook, and then you can wrap it in that carpet underlay stuff or the stuff you put in the drawers to keep your cutlery and whatnot from sliding around. Anything like that that gives it a good non-slip surface. Okay, train mini stairs. And then this is also when I recommend having a therapist evaluate your puppy. So checking the hip for any signs of pain or laxity, checking the sacroiliac joint and the lumbar spine, so low back problems. Check and monitor what I call motor control and timing. So that's looking at the muscles, okay, and how the muscles are functioning, especially in the rear end. Because most of these times, if you were to stand a puppy up and then take one leg off the ground, they're not going to be very stable. So you can work on that and check for balance and abdominal functioning. Okay, so I would say even try stacking block practice, and then of course for your therapist to treat accordingly. Now, one thing that I saw in a textbook talked about supine hip compression. So supine meaning this position, lying on the back. And so the textbook said that lying the puppy on the back and kind of you push the hips into the socket and you just kind of do little circles. That if you did that 100 times a day, that it was good for reducing hip dysplasia. Now, I've not seen that in a research paper, but it wasn't a textbook. So I throw it out here. Well, maybe that could be something that you could try. And I also had a vet say, oh yeah, she definitely tells all of her puppy people to do that as well. So I passed that on to you. Maybe this is something that you could incorporate. Okay. Play. So when you're looking at play, try to ensure that it's with other puppies of similar size and age and interest. And what you really are looking for is to watch for fatigue or that the play is getting too rough, because we just don't want the injuries, okay? So it could also be playing with gentle adults or boring adults, supervised, absolutely supervised, always supervised. And that really the time for playing is kind of arbitrary. You watch the puppy and the play. So we don't want puppy getting fatigued. We don't want things getting carried away. Both of those two extremes you want to minimize or limit or stop the play if it gets too chaotic or puppy is tired. Okay, now I'm not really an advocate for doggy daycares for puppies, okay? Unless they have a very specific regimen for puppies so that it's limited playtime, it's only with other puppies or dogs the same age, unless it's very structured, okay? Because I have concerns that, again, that something could get carried away. And I would also say be careful at off-leash barks too. And now certainly, and this is for any age, but just to watch out so that things don't get out of hand. So maybe look for puppy socialization classes instead, and or make puppy play dates with litter mates or other puppies that you meet on a walk. That might be a more suitable alternative if your doggy daycare doesn't have specific puppy play area and times. Okay, stage 2. So now we are 3 months and beyond. So now you were teaching the mini stairs. So now when you get to the bigger stairs, it should be a little bit easier. They should have some sense of what's going on. So when you are teaching the stairs, ideally if you can make sure that it's carpeted stairs, you want good footing. And then with the dog having a leash or a harness, and I'm going to say really hard advocate for harness, so that you can help them, hold them, so that if they get going like crazy, you've got something to hang on to and keep them safe. Supervised, and maybe start by having them follow a treat so that you can help control the movement. Okay, no fat puppies. Okay, monitor weight. Maybe use kibble from the meals as a treat, no extras, and no free feeding. Okay, so we really don't, there is no benefit to having a fat puppy. It's all badness. So really watching for that. And then you're going to continue with the outdoor exercise and the coordination training. So some of the things we had talked about before with the balance and all those, but you're going to make it more challenging. And there'll be some exercises afterwards that we talk about and show. Some other things to think about is looking at experiencing different textures and terrain in their outdoor exercise. So whether it's taking them to experience sand or water or hills and uneven terrain and wooded areas and tall grass, maybe they have a digging space. Snow is still even good as a different thing to experience where they have to lift their legs up. So think about the textures of the terrain that you are exposing the puppy to. Okay, so coordination training. So some things that you could look at just for some ideas. So walk the plank. So you saw the little puppies on the log. So here's just a version of that. So we've got the dog walking on a plank, and it doesn't have to be very high up. You could have that just elevated by a couple of textbooks if you wanted. Okay, walking over obstacles. So the cavaletti poles. So this is where I said a mop handle, a broom handle, and you can stagger them here so that one end is higher than the other. You can lift them up. You can set them on pop cans so that they're just raised off the ground a little bit. Things where they have to pay attention to where their body is, and the front legs go over the pole, and then they've got to be clued in enough and realize then the back legs are going to have to go over the pole next. I really like stacking blocks as a practice for puppies, even if they aren't going to be show dogs, because I think it teaches them how to use their body, how to stretch themselves out. So these are just 2 yoga blocks, and these are the Fit Pods, okay? And what I can do with like a stationary block like this is I could slowly wiggle usually the rear block a little further away, little further away, little further away. So she is then starting to stand at it more stretched out. And then she's having to use her abdominal muscles a little bit differently and all of her core stabilizing muscles. So all of what's called the proximal muscles, so that would be the ones closer to the hip or the shoulder, as well as the abdominals, and that really helps with stability for the whole of the body. Balancing on an unstable surface. So we have this giant wobble board at the clinic. So this is just kind of an exaggeration. And here I'm lifting the dog's one leg, and then I can wobble it back and forth. But it doesn't have to be that elaborate. Here's I think that's a cushion off an outdoor furniture set we had good 15 years ago, I think. I don't know, the furniture is long gone, but apparently I've kept the cushion. But even doing something like that, so the cushion has a bit of a wobble to it, and I can change it up. I can put her front feet up, her front feet down. We can just change the different aspects and then ask the dog to balance. Okay, walking drills. Forwards, backwards, and on different surfaces. So backing uphill, okay? Knowing where the rear end is, okay? Stepping in, out, and over objects. Okay? Crawling under can be an excellent exercise. So here's, this is a kid's chair, and it's the perfect size for Sheltie to crawl under. So here with the Golden Retriever, we've got these are in our exercise area, but this was a good height for this dog to crawl under. Okay, and building the glutes. Ooh, nice glutes. Okay, so here's some ideas. So you can do step-ups, and with this one, the front legs are up. I place one leg up at a time on a bench here, and then I ask the dog to come on, get up, 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 and then they're pushing themselves up with that one leg. If you've got a treadmill, you can work with the treadmill doing rear legs only or backwards, and both of those are excellent for building leg muscles. So rear legs only, we've got the front feet off on a stool, or this is a dog treadmill, so it doesn't actually have that platform like human treadmills do, but the platform is actually quite handy on a human treadmill if you want to do rear legs only. Back legs, you really just kind of hang on, turn on the machine till they and really slow till they get it figured out. And they are just power packed in their thighs there because they're like, oh my goodness, what is she doing to me? So backwards on a treadmill is excellent. Okay, three-legged squats, or I also call this squat blocks. So her two front feet are up on, this is a box of envelopes from the Canadian Postal Service. Okay, and then I put one leg up on another block, and I leave the one leg on the ground. And then when I slowly take that leg off the ground, she will straighten the leg that was bent and on the box on the other side, so that her front feet and her rear feet are at the same level and her back is top line. And then basically I push her over so that she is 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot on the box on the back legs again. And she can repeat this squat. Okay? This is maybe one of the easiest ones. Sit to stand facing up a hill. Okay, so obviously this isn't a hill, but this gives you an excellent idea of something that you can do in the house. So if it's winter and you've got puppies in the winter, okay, you can create something like this. So this is a yoga step bench. Because when aerobic step bench covered with that carpet underlay stuff, the non-slip surface, propped up on a cinder block. Okay, simple. It doesn't have to be elaborate. And then we ask her to sit, and then stand, and then sit, and then stand. And because the orientation of it, she's having to use her rear legs far more than she might otherwise. So this could be good. Okay. And then what can be good, if we find a problem, okay, then sometimes what works well is to do electrical muscle stimulation. But of course, this is more likely something that you're coming to the clinic to do or to learn if you have one. And you put it on the glutes, and then when it comes on, you lift the other leg so that they are balancing on that leg when their glutes are being stimulated. And the home version of this is to tap the glutes, tap, 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 and I would tap fairly forcefully so that you get a bit of a reflexive contraction in the glutes, and then you lift the other leg. So we are basically retraining the glutes to come on, to fire, to activate when an animal is standing on the one leg. Okay. And then this is kind of just, this goes into a bit of an overall general stability. So you can do a diagonal leg standing, so I'm holding a front leg and a rear leg opposite sides. And it's easier if I hold them kind of under the dog. And then it gets harder if I hold them further out from the dog. But this would be your goal. You might start with a 3-leg standing, work up to the diagonal leg standing, and then go the diagonal leg standing stretched out like this. And then you can also make it harder by then making it an unstable surface too. So lots of room to play. Alrighty. And what you'll see as well, I've also included on this page our handout that we have for preventing hip dysplasia and exercises that you can do. So print that off and you can start going through some of that as well with your puppy at home. So really your rehab practitioners, so your physios with rehab training or the vets with rehab training are ideally suited to help you guys, the owners and the breeders, to create the best possible environment for minimizing the incidence of hip dysplasia. So I can't say we can get rid of all of it, but I think we can certainly reduce the incidence. So that's all. And if any of you are Calgary and area local and this has really sparked your interest, feel free, give us a call to schedule your puppy checkup today. That's all. Cheers.